on the money, but
I think either my internet or yours is a little bit delayed or fast or whatever, but we're here and
we're ready to
here,
chat. We're
we're
having a
ready.
good time. It may be something on my end because as I was telling you offline, technology is, as always, the reason and bane of my existence. But I
Mhm.
just recently upgraded to a brand new, beautiful, so fast, sexy MacBook Pro, like the newest one. And it's black. It's like that midnight black. And it just has a big screen. And I'm so into it. And then I
Jealous.
realized, like, right before we recorded, that of course, every new Apple product requires USB converter adapters and different chargers and all this crap. So I couldn't hook up my mic to the new laptop. So here I am on the 10-year-old laptop that works like a desktop Mac from 1994 and like barely runs. And I'm not happy about it. But anyway, such is life.
We're making it work. We're
We're
making it
making it
work.
work. But I do have to say that in addition to my professional purchase of a new laptop, I also upgraded my AirPods. And I just have to say this: listen, Apple is in no way supporting this podcast. That'd be great if they want to send us stuff. They're not, I don't think they're really in the habit of doing that. But
Mm-mm.
I am what is known as a late adopter to technology and trends. Like I will never be the first to jump on anything. I think because I'm just a naturally, like, I don't know, critical person or something. I just always am like, ugh, if everybody loves it. It's the reason why I never like read Harry Potter. I was just like, this is way too popular. I can't, I don't want to do it. But usually like maybe later on in life, I'll be like, okay, fine. So anyway,
Wait, so did you end up reading it or
I
no?
never read Harry Potter. I'm more of a
Oh,
Lord of
me
the
neither.
Rings girl. Like I can't, it passed me by. I'm not into it. But anyway. Okay, so AirPods. I use AirPods. They're great, but they last a couple years usually, right? And then like one is
Hmm.
always dying, whatever. So I was like, I'm spending all this money. I might as well get some new AirPods. And the guy who was helping me was like, do you want like the new ones or the old ones? I'm like, just give me the oldies. Like, I'm crotchety. I don't care. Just give me the originals. They're cheaper, right? And he was like, are you
Yeah.
sure? Because the new ones are like really good. And I don't know. I was just in a mood. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try them. And do you have new ones? What do you have?
Well, now I'm like super intrigued because I have
You
these
have like the
ones. They're
second
in a case.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have the second generation. Now, before you even tell me about it, like you're leading up, like you should be a representative for Apple because I'm literally about to pull up apple.com and buy some new AirPods just based off of what you
Just
just said.
wait for I haven't even told
Okay.
you the story yet.
I know that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
So they're like, well, some of the good things about this new gen, like the newest ones, are they have really good, and it's like adaptive responding, like noise cancellation and like
mhm.
noise elevation, whatever. So I don't know if I said this recently. I think I told you in a past episode that I am all old person crotchety about how loud the music is at my gym,
Yes.
right? And how I will like
Yes.
turn my AirPods up as loud as they can go, and I can like barely hear what I'm listening to. So I was like, noise cancellation, you say? Let me try these out. So we're in a big, loud Apple store, right? I put these babies in, I turn on the noise cancellation. I felt like I was in the future, dude. It was
Oh my God.
insane.
I'm purchasing right now.
It was literally like the outside world turned off. And like, I don't know why. And so Alex was with me and he was like, because I was like reacting very crazily. And he's like, have you ever like put on noise canceling headphones? Like, what's your deal? Like, you're way too enthusiastic about this.
What's your
And
deal?
I'm like, you have no idea what these are doing right now. Like the big ones that you put on in the airplane or
Hmm.
whatever, this was it was so beyond. And then he put them on and he was like, whoa, oh crap. Like he was freaking out too. So I'm like, this is amazing, but you can adjust them so that like different transparency of noise cancellation. You can adjust it so that you can like hear human voices, but nothing else. You can make it responsive,
Oh
like
my
all this crazy
gosh.
stuff. So all that to say, I bought the way more expensive AirPods. I went to my gym today with its crazy loud, annoying loudness. I put on the noise cancellation and it was like the music was turned off. Like it's
That's
almost
crazy.
disorienting how well it works because it feels like you've gone deaf. Like it's
I
nuts.
I'm literally about to stop recording and go buy these.
Just buy them.
No, I have like the second generation and they do have noise canceling. Like I can tell the difference between noise canceling and not, but based off what you're saying, they're definitely not up to that standard. Um,
Insane.
I am about to go buy it. And the reason I'm saying this is because I have super sensitive hearing, mostly with sleep. Like when I try to go to sleep, and it's been like this for a while. Just, I think I talked about this.
You're
Like I have a
sensitive,
little
yeah.
PTSD from grad school living underneath people who were just so loud. And that's why I will never live underneath anybody ever again in my life. I don't care. Like, I don't care. So like traveling, things like that, I'm always so anxious with noise because I can't, it's also like a control thing. Like I'm very controlling. It's like, I don't know what I'm getting into. Like I know I can't control the noise. So I think, I don't know if I told you this, but I was in Chicago a few weeks ago and I was staying in a house with like a bunch of my friends and, late night music, all that stuff. So I literally have the Beats noise canceling earphones, which are pretty good. But what I do is I blast my sound machine, I put in wax earplugs, and then I put my Beats noise canceling headphones over that. And I'm crazy. I put on a Spotify white noise canceling that go through the Beats.
That
Is
is
that
next
insane?
level. Yeah,
Is
that's
that
very
insane?
next level. I mean, does it work for you? Like,
Yeah.
does it help you
Yeah.
sleep? 'Cause see,
It's
for
like
me,
triple, quadruple noise
yeah.
canceling.
Yeah, I mean, the redundancies are crazy. I feel like it would be very effective, but my issue with sensitive sleeping is that all that crap would be
Yeah.
uncomfortable. I wouldn't be able to like fall asleep because I've got like 10 things on my ears and like,
Yeah.
listen, if it works, it works. And you
Yeah.
got to
I
protect
only do
yourself at
that in
all costs.
extreme situations.
Yeah, yeah.
Usually it's just the wax earplugs, but you
Anyway,
have convinced me to go get these AirPods and we've spent 10 minutes talking about this. So um
I honestly I don't love promoting companies that
yeah.
would never help me in a million years and like don't need my help, but like it was in I just cannot tell you how effective it was and how crazy. And like the sound obviously is way better. Like if you are somebody
Yeah.
who uses AirPods a lot and if there is a noise canceling requirement in your life, like
Mhm.
go get these. Yikes. Anyway, okay. Moving
Wait, I
on.
want to say one more thing about a technology thing.
Okay.
We've only technically been talking about this for 7 minutes. I said
Okay.
10, so we have 3 more minutes.
Great.
So have you ever worn an Apple Watch?
No.
Okay, so I just got this one like maybe a month ago, the newest one.
Mm-hmm.
And it's similar to the old one, but it has, of course, like updated features and things like that. And I just thought this was funny because, of course, I had my first kickball game back. We had a doubleheader this past weekend, and it was the first one back, first, league starting up in the last month. And I just thought this was funny. I went and slid for a ball, and I had like this huge cut on my knee
Gross.
from that, but I slid to catch a ball. And I like took a hard fall. And then as I got up, my Apple Watch was like started dinging and
Like
it was
you've been
like
in an accident?
SOS. Yeah, it was like SOS. It looks like you just took a really hard fall, like call 911. I was like, whoa, that's actually really cool and very useful if you are someone who lives alone or whatever it may be. So yeah, just a funny thing. I mean, technology is crazy. And I think that is like I was thinking the same thing. Oh my gosh, like I'm in the future right now
Really?
with these things. But
I mean, it
yeah.
is amazing. And again, kind of goes back to our conversation of like technology and social media and all this new stuff. It can be evil or it can be really great if you like
Hmm.
use it. Like that is an example of something like I know my mom has one too, and she got in like a fender bender or something. And it was like, are you okay? Like
Yeah,
that is good stuff,
it's
especially for
cool.
maybe people who are, like you said, are alone or getting older or whatever, like technology can be very good. And for really
Yeah.
crotchety gym goers who refuse to listen to whatever is blasting on the radio, now I get to just listen to my own beautiful music and it's
Yes.
so wonderful. Okay.
I do have, okay, sorry, we have 1 minute left of this, or maybe 20 seconds. I do have a feeling that we are going to get someone who writes in asking about the dangers of
EMFs. Yeah.
AirPods and EMFs. And I don't really want to get into that now, but
Yeah. We can
I
talk
just
about
feel
it
like
in
maybe
the
just
future.
chatting about it for a second. Do you have any opinions on that? I'm curious because I know that you've always worn the
Yeah.
wired ones when we record. So I was
Yeah.
curious about
I honestly use the wired ones when we record because I feel like for whatever reason the AirPods tend to be more finicky with like Zoom and stuff. Like I just
that.
tend to
Okay.
have more issues with it. But I don't. I haven't looked into the research enough to really say definitively. Depending on if you talk to like a very intense natural health person, they'll tell you that it's cooking your brain and you're going to die. If you talk to a other person, they'll tell you that the levels of EMFs are so low that if unless you're have everything on full blast 24/7, you're fine. My uneducated understanding is that this is, again, a kind of toxic load issue. And if you are mindfully balancing the things that maybe aren't the most natural and healthy and best, with like doing the right things when you can. And also there are, at the end of the day, and I think feel like we've talked about this a little bit, that the reality is, whether we like to admit it or not, that some people can and some people can't when it comes to things like sugar or EMFs or mold exposure or whatever. Some people are going to be really sensitive to this stuff and they can't use it. It doesn't mean that no one else can and we're all going to die if we use AirPods.
Yeah.
I think that so that's my understanding, is kind of it's like an awareness thing. It's a toxic load thing. It's like, don't have your phone on Bluetooth attached to your head 24/7, but also like we're all surrounded by EMFs and all of this stuff constantly. It's like, just make the best choices you can. If you feel like you're having some kind of health response, then maybe you look into it and, you know, for yourself. I have some friends who are like really, really hardcore about this stuff. And, you know, do this EMF blocking everywhere they go and whatever. Most of us, I think, probably are okay and have bigger problems to worry about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Actually, that's exactly how I look at it.
Good. And if people do have questions or thoughts, or they have some information they'd like to share with us, if you've got a study you'd like us to look at, please send it in, because we can follow up if people are interested. Send us an email, as always. musclescienceforwomen@gmail.com. Number 4. Send us your questions, comments, or thoughts about whether our AirPods are slowly killing us. Okay. All right.
I love that. And I think just one last thing before we get into it, I know I've literally said this 5 times, but about, you know,
it's only do what we want. It's our
minutes
podcast,
and 30
dude.
seconds.
You don't have to keep justifying it. We can.
No, I just want to add to that I just want to add that I think it's all about what we talk about with everything, with nutrition, with training. Like, there is a balance, and as we continue to increase, you know, the cool technology that we have, there's going to be consequences to that. But then if we look back, you know, 30 years ago to stuff that we didn't have, like, there's also consequences back then, or whatever, 50 years ago, or, you know, we could talk about smoking cigarettes. Like, we didn't know that they were bad until we knew that they were bad. Right. And I think that living your life trying to like put yourself in a box, especially in this day and age, is just going to make you even more insane. So it's like doing what you can within reason to help you to balance out the toxic load. Those are the things that I would focus on, like drinking filtered water, maybe even putting a filter on your shower if you live in a place that has really bad, you know, water pollution. These little things, they are, you know, steps in the right direction. So you're kind of like, you know, building that up from that perspective. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to add.
Yep, I completely agree. Okay,
cool.
So I have a topic that's been on my mind, and it relates to a question. It kind of indirectly relates to a question. It's like a segue. So should we do the question first, and then maybe we'll like dive into my topic?
Why not?
Or okay. So let's start. So we have a listener email that's pretty long. So I'm going to try to like skim through it and give you guys like the information that's necessary. Yes. So our listener here, she first of all told me that she was eating a really cool organ meat meal that I've never heard of, which is awesome. She's Finnish and lives in Norway. So shout out to our outside of North America listeners. We love when people write in from other countries. That's awesome. And she says, thank you for providing so much useful information and making me feel validated for wanting to actually get bigger, not smaller, and wanting to eat real food and not just live off tiny salads and air. That's awesome. Nobody wants to live off tiny salads and air. Okay, so she's giving us a bit of background information. 30, no kids. She's always been smaller than she wanted to be. I grew up very skinny. There were times when my ribs were visible, despite always eating pretty large meals and a good quality food. She says she eats stuff like porridge, root vegetables, fish, and meat. Over the years, I've been very active in various ways: football, archery, horse riding, boxing, hiking. Sounds like the most interesting woman in the world. But it wasn't until fairly recently, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, that I discovered lifting weights. I've realized that this is the best option for my goals because I've always wanted to be big and strong, and I've actually gotten quite good results over these last few years. I do have some issues with my back and shoulders because of some slight scoliosis, and so it can be painful if I'm not careful. When I get proper rest and concentrate on good form with the weights, I don't have any pain. So I do want to do big ego lifts. She's saying it's tempting to do big ego lifts, but she's a little bit worried. Her question is, how can I really push this to the next level? I don't feel like I'm getting enough progress. It's so slow. And I'm not sure how much work it would take to get the results I want. Do I have to be in the gym 5 days a week? Or do you think I can keep going 2 days and just be more patient? She's saying, I want to look bigger, wider shoulders, upper body, strong back. She's saying, but it seems I can't escape my own lanky form. Am I cursed to be a beanstalk forever, or is there something I can do? So that's the message in a nutshell. Thoughts? Take it away, Rachel.
I think you have some thoughts, so I'm gonna let you go first, even though you just took
I think you probably
the time
have
to read all that.
I think you have some I think you probably have some technical, tangible, helpful things. So what are your thoughts initially on one of the, again, logistic questions she's asking is, should she be going to the gym more, or is 2 days a week and just it's going to take way longer? Is that also an option? What would you say if she was a client, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. So first things I always say is if you have some serious goals and it's kind of like a speech now, and you have not looked into getting help with those goals, i.e. a coach or a program, you're probably going to continue to spin your reels, because a lot of the fitness stuff that we do, we need outside help, outside perspective, outside set of eyes looking in to help guide us and keep us accountable. So that's one of the biggest things. I mean, even if you set out for a goal to go to the gym 5 days a week, are you following a program that is actually going to get you the results that you're looking for, combined with the proper nutrition that you need? Do you know all of those things? And even if you know them, are you implementing them to the consistency that they need to be implemented to, right? So that's the first thing, as always. And I would say that just in terms of her goal of getting, bigger, building muscle, it is going to come down to just kind of going back to the fundamentals of, okay, we know that in order to build muscle, we need to be, for most people, be at maintenance or potentially in a slight surplus to do that in the most efficient way possible. So do you even know what maintenance is right now? Do you know your maintenance? Have you been tracking your food? Do you have an idea of that? Do you, have you, in terms of training, right? Are you following a program that is going to be specific to building the muscle groups that you want to build, right? So that is something that we can get more specific with, right? For example, we have a glutes program, we have a shoulders program. We dive into all these little things based off of, the individual and what their goals are. So it's hard for me to kind of I can go off on different tangents, but it all just kind of comes back to okay, do you know what your specific goals are? Are they realistic for you within, your genetics even, right? Because that plays a big role. And I know that you have a lot to talk about with this, but I think that's the first step. What are your goals? What is the timeline? Can we work to actually implement specific things that will push you forward in the most efficient way possible? Because there's definitely a right and a wrong way to do this. And so it's all going to come back to okay, do we have the strategy? Do you have the, what's the word? I'm blanking on the word here, but
Tools?
Tools. Yeah. Tools, but also the drive to actually accomplish this, right? Because anybody can say, I want to do X, Y, and Z, and they'll do it for 2 weeks and then be like, oh, this is too hard, right? You have to have something that is driving you. What is your why? What's your goal? Is it just because you don't want to be small anymore? There needs to be a deeper why to get you to actually be able to push yourself through the hard stuff, because there's absolutely going to be hard stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my 2 cents. How about you?
I agree. I mean, and I think, again, a very easy answer when she's saying, should I stick to 2 days or should I be, working out more? I mean, again, we're not your coach. We don't know enough information to give you definitive advice, but I will say, if you are 30 and have no kids and are very into this, yeah, you probably could be going to the gym more, honestly. I'm a big proponent of minimum effective dose and I work primarily with clients who are in their 40s and 50s and have tons of responsibility and high stress lives. And like, maybe they shouldn't be working out 5, 6 days a week. But if you're, just chugging along nicely, like your injuries are managed and your stress is low and you've got the time and the desire, as you said, you're really into this. This is a big goal for you right now. Yeah, you could probably be upping it 3, 4 days a week, no problem. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Even
if you're
4 to 5. And this is mostly for, sorry, I think there's
no,
a
go
little
ahead.
delay. I'm
Go ahead.
interrupting you.
No, it's okay.
Sorry. No, like you said, like this comes back to what I mentioned about the fundamentals. The fundamentals of building muscle are that you have to work your muscles a certain amount, like have a certain amount of volume per week in order to build. And 2 days a week for most people is not going to be enough in order to hit all of the muscle groups in the amount that we need to be able to also recover from those sessions too and build. So yeah, for most people the goal is to build muscle, like that's your main goal, 4 days a week minimum. I mean, 3 days, yes, if you're really efficient and you're pushing really close to failure all the time. But for most people, it's going to be 4 days, 4 to 5 days. Over 5 days for most people, unless you're a bodybuilder who's stepping on stage, like probably not necessary. But I would say the sweet spot's going to be 4 to 5 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, yeah, like one of the bigger topics that I wanted to chat about in this podcast, and it isn't even really directly in response to her message, but it sort of is. So that's why I wanted to kind of create the segue. But she's, she sent some pictures too. Like she wanted to kind of like show us what she looks like. Like, this is me. I want to be bigger. I want to be more muscular. And one of the things that was kind of coming up for me is, first of all, and I say this lightly and, with love to this person. She's awesome. She likes our podcast. We are pumped about her goals, everything positive, no judgment here. But she's kind of not speaking to herself very nicely too. Like, I'm this like skinny beanstalk and can I never get big or whatever. And I'm like, to some people, they may look at you and be like, you have the perfect body. You're very fit and strong looking. You look amazing. And maybe you are stuck in this negative feedback loop of like, I'm skinny and I'm never going to look the way I want to look. Right. So some of it's perspective, and it's really just, I feel like it's very top of mind for me right now because I have some new clients and like just some things going on where it seems like there's so much more to be discussed around goals and how we feel about ourselves than the actual physical behaviors we need to do to reach that goal. So I just wonder sometimes if people don't have a very clear handle on exactly what the goal is to make it measurable, identifiable, and also realistic, like you mentioned, realistic for your body, for your lifestyle, for your willingness and your level of drive and commitment. And then again, and I'm not saying this in relation to this person, I'm talking about kind of other unidentified people here. But how much of your goal and not feeling satisfied and not feeling like you're reaching it and being frustrated is because the goal is unrealistic, or it's one of these like ever changing things where it's built in that you're never going to quite reach it and never be happy, because it is sort of a subjective, intangible thing. A goal like I want to deadlift 200 pounds is pretty cut and dry. And when you've achieved it. And even then, if you have this mindset of I'm never really good enough or nothing's ever really good enough, you might hit that goal that 6 months ago you were like, oh my God, I'm going to be this badass. I'm going to be so proud when I get this. And then when you get it, you're like, that's not even that great. Like, whatever, I need to do better. Right. So there's like two parts to this. It's like, is the goal clear and well articulated and makes sense and is realistic? And then the second part of it is like, is your head right for the goal that you're setting for yourself? And so, yeah, I've just had like some clients recently and some people that I'm talking to where like they'll come to me and say, this is XYZ goal, and these are XYZ things I'm doing to try to get to it. And I'm not quite happy with how it's going. And my first thought, and I know I have my own biases and my own experience level and whatever, but I've just been finding more and more that like my response is like, you're fine. You're doing everything right and you're fine and you're doing good and your progress is fine. You're just unhappy. Like, you're just not happy with it. And it's because of your expectations or your mental, like your attitude towards it. That's the actual problem. It's not how you look, it's not how you're performing, and it's not even your lifestyle factors. They're sorted out too. It's not connecting. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's difficult. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, because you are an experienced and successful coach as well. It's just coming up that it's like, this is to a certain extent sort of outside of the scope of what we're able to help you with. And I'm not saying it's like deep mental issues and you need to see a therapist. I mean, for some people, definitely. And we all, like we've said in previous episodes, can all benefit from talking to a professional. But in some cases, it's just like, it's not really, we can be supportive and we can be understanding and listen and try to offer our thoughts. But like, how much responsibility is there on the health coach to help you figure out getting your mind right around this stuff, right? Because I feel like, am I doing my job as a health coach to like tell you like, you're actually fine, like you don't need to change anything, you don't need to do anything differently, you just need to like get out of your own head and stop being so unhappy with everything and stop expecting this perfection or this ideal that no one ever reaches. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think this comes with like just our time in the space, coaching for so many years and working with so many different types of clients. And I would say that at least right now, probably 75% of combined one-on-one clients, and then also my group coaching clients in the Flex Fam, all have therapists that are outside of like coaching, right? So it's all about, thinking kind of, I look at my clients as a whole. We talk about the mind, the body, the physical, mental, all that stuff. But like you said, we don't specialize in the therapy side of things, the mental side of things. And so it's kind of, coming, and I've just talked to one of my one-on-one clients about this, seeking out therapy to be in addition to the coaching that we're doing together, because they're not the same thing. They're completely different, and one can help with the other. It's just like, looking at this, like if you're trying to change your body composition, focusing on nutrition and like nutrition and training are two different things. If you only focus on nutrition and you don't do anything about training, yeah, you might change a little bit, but it's not going to be as significant as it would be if you incorporated some smart strength training. Same thing with nutrition, right? If you don't focus on nutrition at all and you bust your ass in the gym, you're going to get some results, but they're not going to be anywhere close to what you could achieve. And then we have the other components of that too, like your lifestyle, the mindset side of things that comes with therapy and working through that. So I think that is really important for people to understand, if you're looking to get to the next level, or if you've been spinning your wheels, doing all the right things, or if a client comes to us who we kind of look at all of their nutrition and training and movement and sleep and all the technical things, and we're like, wow, you are actually hitting all these boxes, right? It's not, typically there's always things that we can improve on, right? But if there's this other box that we're not ticking from the mental side of things, then we're missing out on a lot of progress and things that we could kind of be working together as a team. It's just like, you have when you go to the doctor, right? There's doctors who specialize in different things, but they'll work together in certain ways, right? To, help you to get the best care possible. So I think that's the biggest thing that at least I've also realized over time is, as I work with clients, I can't go outside of my scope of practice. Yes, I will say that we are kind of in that realm where it's like coaching is in itself a form of therapy, because you are coaching someone through their like helping them get through certain things that they might be hesitant on or not realize, right? Having that outside set of eyes looking in. So in all of my check-ins, I am coaching people. I am talking through a lot of the mental side of things, and that is part of it. But there's another layer. There's a deeper layer that we can't really hit on. And we can't ask the right questions or give the right, have the exact tools that a therapist who's literally, specialized in this would have. So I'm kind of on the same page there. And I think that, yes, there are lots of things that you can check the boxes for and get in place. But if you already have a lot of those things in place and you're not getting to where you want to be, then there's likely another component from a mental side that can be addressed for sure.
Yep. And it's not ethical either for us to, because again, we've seen a lot of things and we're pretty smart people. And I may be able to talk to somebody and be like, I know what your problem is, and it's not carbs, but I can't say that to you because it's not ethical for me to try to like diagnose any kind of issue really, but especially like a mental health one.
Yeah.
But we also know very acutely that if you do have a disordered approach to eating or exercise, or a dysmorphic approach to how you feel and look and feel about yourself, no amazing programming or nutrition plan is going to fix it. And you know it too, even if you don't want to hear it. It does not. It just isn't enough. The mental part is more important, and it's crucial. And that's why so many people spend so many years on and off this sort of like diet train or nutrition train or fad crash diets and stuff. Because, and again, it sounds kind of harsh, but I think that this is true. And if it's triggering to you, it may be because it relates to you, that we are trying to use this stuff in place of mental health work that needs to be done. Right. We're like, well, if I can just get real hot or real lean or like really get my fitness dialed in, I will feel better about myself. And it helps, of course, being healthy helps your mental health, and feeling better and learning how to take care of yourself is incredibly important. But it's not the only thing, and it's not even the most important thing when we're dealing with mental health issues, right?
Yeah.
So,
and sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I just want to add to that too, because I talk about this a lot with my clients and even on my social media as well. And if you don't really understand kind of exactly where I'm coming from when you maybe hear this, then you might get the wrong idea. But I do believe that there is a huge component of working on the physical things, getting your nutrition in check, being disciplined with going to the gym, because what that does is it does build confidence, right? It does build your self-efficacy. When you do these things for a little while and you start to build up this momentum, you're like, oh, I actually said I was going to do this thing and I followed through with it consistently, right, for a good amount of time. And now you start to feel better about yourself because you're like, oh yeah, I can actually do that. Right. And that's like a confidence thing. And then when you continue to do that, you start to build upon that, and you do get better from a mental side of like the confidence. Right. And so I do think there is, if you don't have those boxes checked, and if you are looking to change certain things from a body composition standpoint, or even an internal standpoint with your confidence, putting yourself through hard things, right? Going to the gym, lifting heavy weights, getting close to failure, even from a standpoint of like, if you're looking to lose some body fat, not eating the food when hunger hits, right? Having a plan and following through with that, knowing that, yes, there's going to be some hunger, but I can get through that, right? I think that is a huge component of it as well in terms of like the confidence side of things. But again, it doesn't replace the other things that are going on too. It is one piece of the puzzle, I guess you could say. So,
yeah. And even backing away from like the mental health part, like the other part of this that we were kind of touching on is unrealistic goals. So we've mentioned before on previous podcasts about just the simple sort of math of like making sure your lifestyle and enthusiasm level matches what you're actually trying to do, right? It's like the age old, like, I want to look like I'm, a week away from a bodybuilding competition, but I want to work out one day a week and eat whatever I want. It's like, no, you don't want to do one of those things, because you can't have like, the enthusiasm drive factor at 10% and want the results of 100%, right? So there's that part of like, let's just be realistic. Like, yes, everybody dreams of working out and being the strongest person in the world and the best looking and the leanest and whatever, but like, is it realistic for what you actually want to do every day, how you want to show up and eat and live and sleep and work out? There's nothing wrong. It's not failing. It's not giving up to accept that maybe your lifestyle allows for a goal that is like 80% of your dream body or performance. You know what I mean? But like, let's match these up, because you can't have your cake and eat it too. You have to either accept a slightly lesser goal, which there's nothing wrong with, or accept that you have to make significant changes to hit a bigger goal, right? And I feel like, I don't know, maybe it goes back to like some people being a little too either hard on themselves, or maybe they're comparing themselves too much or something. But I'll have people coming to me and saying like, I need to build more muscle and things just aren't working. And I tried this one program for 6 weeks, but then I got bored. And then I switched to this other one. I didn't really like it. So I'm kind of like wishy-washy, but I did gain like this much muscle over the last like year. And I'm like, dude, you gained like this, whatever I'm like, you're doing it. Like, how much muscle do you expect to gain in a year? Like, you're actually doing it. You just have unrealistic expectations that are turning what should be a successful, happy, positive outcome into something that feels like a failure because you don't understand what actually the expectation should be, you know? So, you know, it's not about settling. It's not about like, oh, I just shouldn't expect much of myself. It's like, and again, it goes back to, we've talked about before, we're becoming broken records, or I don't know, just playing on repeat. But it's the idea of like having positive, realistic, beneficial goals that you just hit consistently over time forever. It's not a bad thing. It's not a negative thing to have goals that match your lifestyle, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. I just want to like to wrap this conversation up. It's funny because I came across something yesterday that I saved, and it's relates to this. Do you know about the I don't know if I'm saying this right, Ebbinghaus illusion? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So it's basically like, it talks about how we like our minds think in relative terms, not absolutes. And sometimes like as we visualize something or our reference point of something can distort our reality. And one of the most common examples of this is, if you're watching this, you'll see, but it's where you have a circle that is, one size, and then you put circles around it that are bigger. And so that circle that's one size looks smaller. But then if you put next to it the same size circle with little circles around it, it looks bigger, even though they're actually the same size. So can you kind of see that here?
Yeah.
So it's like the premise of it is it shows our perception. I'll just read this. It shows our perception of reality is fallible. So our senses and our relationship with the world around us are all interpretations. And sometimes it can make us terribly unhappy because we have this distorted reality, right? And so I kind of think of this in the way of, if you are someone who's new to lifting weights and you're comparing yourself to someone who has been lifting weights for 10 years and has had working on their nutrition for 10 years and doing all the things consistently for 10 years. And you're here just starting off and you're like, why don't I look like that person? I've been doing this for 3 months. It's just, it's a complete distortion. So it kind of all just comes back to like, again, like you said, are you being realistic with your goals? Do your expectations meet your reality? Like all of these things. And this is where, again, having an outside set of eyes or someone who can bring you back to reality is so important. Because I know if I've, with my coaches throughout the years, there's been times where I am just completely blinded by things and I see one thing and then it doesn't click until someone else gives me the realization or actually goes through it. Or this is why I love data, right? I love Excel sheets. I love the objective metrics because those don't lie. Our subjectivity, the way we see ourselves in the mirror or those types of things, they can be distorted based off of our reality and all that, or based off of the way that we see it, right?
Yeah.
So
our interpretation.
Anyway, our interpretation, yes.
And that's a good point. It's like, you can't really, although people might argue in this day and age that you can, but you cannot dispute facts. So like the facts of what you're doing, the data that you're gathering, that's facts. That doesn't need to be emotionally interpreted.
Objective,
just saying like, oh, I think I'm not really doing that great, or I haven't really gained that much muscle, or I'm never going to be like big and strong because I'm whatever. Like that's your interpretation. And unfortunately for us, it tends to skew negatively and cause some problems. But, and like going back again, full circle, we'll finish this off here. But the email from Katrina, who we appreciate. This was not all like, this isn't like coming down on you. This was a conversation I wanted to have. And then we just were having this discussion of your situation. And again, I think like the sort of summary is that I think is really useful for her specifically is like, yeah, you could probably be turning it up. It would probably be very beneficial if you did start to sort of formalize your training and nutrition, probably with a coach. But if, if that's not available, at least all the steps you can start to take, like tracking and really paying meticulous attention to your training program and the progressive overload and things like that. And, just maximizing everything instead of just kind of going along and hoping that results come out of nowhere. Right. So anyway, I just wanted to like kind of close the loop on her because it's an awesome,
absolutely.
It was an awesome email, and we love to hear people who want to get bigger and build muscle and be strong. And it sounds like you are doing a lot of good things. But it was just something that I've been like thinking about so much, about this concept of like, so many people, it's not the things they're doing every day that are the problem. It's what they think about their goals and objectives that is actually what's causing the problems and the disconnect. So anyway, it's an interesting topic. We have not talked about our sponsors, so let's talk about Paleovalley. I just posted today, actually, I've been back on the organ meat and organ meat supplement train. It's weird because I'm the organ meat lady, I wrote this cookbook, but I surprisingly go through like peaks and valleys where I am like not actually eating a lot of organ meats. I just got tired of like cooking tongue and heart for a while, and I just sort of like skipped out on it. But I'm starting to like feel the call again. So I've bought some chicken liver, but also I'm back on the organ meat complex, which desiccated organ meats, which I really like. And I've told you guys before, like I use it as a multivitamin for people who are like never going to eat their liver or their heart, which you should. It is a very sort of like minimally processed version of getting some like nutrient dense organ meats in your diet. And this company, like they do a really good job of all of their supplements and all of their food. So if it's something that you've been like experimenting or thinking about, getting more organ meats or like the supplements in your diet, you should definitely try them. And they have all kinds of other stuff too. They have like vitamin C. They have, what are some of their other supplements? What did you get? You mostly got
they have
food,
bars.
right?
They have different types of protein, bone broth protein and whey protein. They have obviously the beef sticks or the beef, chicken, turkey sticks, all that that we talk about all the time. What else do I have? I have this salmon roe as well.
That's right. Yeah.
I've been taking that every day.
Well, if you want to look into it, we have a discount code. You get 15% off anything that you order. And we have the link in the show notes. It's paleovalley.com/muscle science. And you get 15% off your entire order. So take advantage. If you have any questions about any products or anything, you want some more information, just send us an email and we'll do our best to figure it out for you. But thank you to Paleovalley for supporting the show.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. That's it. Gotta go drink some water and put on my noise canceling headphones. So I don't have to hear anyone.
I'm going to go order some of those because I just need all the noise canceling in my life.
Right? I need less noise in general, even though this is coming from a pretty noisy person, but it's ironic, but here we are. All right. Until next time, don't do stupid shit.
Don't be insane and what she said.
Bye.
Bye.